hello and good evening. The season of assurances continues to live up to its name and turned to a season of commendations for the federal government and by extension the NNPC for keeping the promise of fuel availability. Unwholesome practices have given way to best practices at a broad spectrum level. And that's very illustrative of the recently released NNPC Monthly Financial and Operations Report, which presented a 9.5 billion naira trading surplus as against the previous month's deficit of 3.90 billion naira. It's about very cheering submission and interesting numbers across NNPC's operations, and that momentum abates 3 months down the road to the end of the year. Welcome to Sunday evening. I'm Akin Agbijile. This is all on Gas Forum.
We have allowed 305 billion naira, equivalent to $1 billion United States dollars, for underway recovery by NNPC in 2019. We will continue working to bring it downward so that such resources are freed up to meet the developmental needs of our people. Today, the government through the NNPC is the sole importer of petrol, and therefore the under-recovery is from the NNPC's trading account. This means the possibility of some marketers falsifying claims is removed.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Baru, felicitates with our dear compatriots in the new year. The corporation wishes you, your dear family and other loved ones a joyous and prosperous new year. As petroleum product supplier of last resort, Dr. Baru assures of adequate petroleum product supply to satisfy your demands this new year and beyond. As usual, he advises motorists and other consumers of petroleum products against panic buying, as the corporation holds a stock of 30 billion liters of petrol and 90,000 metric tons of kerosene expected to last 60 days, assuming no fresh consignment is added. The GMD wishes all a prosperous new year.
Well, stories trending at the close of last week include NNPC records trading surplus for end of Q3, and we are still riding the waves, as it were. Fuel availability at festive period Nigerians appreciate. It's all about the details. The end of year, which holds the festive rites of Yuletide and the New Year ordinarily, is looked out for with joy and happiness. Governments approved holidays during the period. Families travel far and near to mark the occasion and celebrate with their loved ones. It's a period to be marked with conviviality, bountiful munching and drinking. In recent past, however, it's a time of year many Nigerians dread. Recent experiences indicate that for whatever reason, fuel shortages are known to rear their ugly head as the end of year approaches. Long fuel queues of angry motorists, skyrocketed price of petrol, untold hardship by ordinary petroleum product consumers were the order of the day. This year is rounding off on a different note. Reports from different parts of the country indicate adequate product availability across the nation. Motorists move freely. No queues at fuel stations. Price of petrol remains 145 naira per litre. None experiences hardship to refuel. It's a year-end of plenty and celebrations, so say many commuters. The development is not lost on Nigerians. They have correctly attributed the new dawn to the good work of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari and the leadership of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, led by its Group Managing Director, Dr. Mekanti Baru, offering kudos for the difference they have made in their lives. For ensuring adequate supply of petroleum products this festive season, the appreciative Nigerians said the federal government and the NNPC had made their joyous occasion worth their while. The commendations by motorists and petroleum product marketers came when the NNPC GMD undertook an on-the-spot assessment of product supply and distribution across some fuel stations in Abuja and its environs on the eve of the Yuletide. Dr. Barrow, who visited several service stations during the tour, was heralded at every point with chants of commendations and appreciation by all Nigerians, all echoing, quote, "Well done, thank you, sir," unquote. A customer at one of the independent service stations along Kubwa Road, Mr. Abiodun Oluwole, whose vehicle the GMD dispensed petrol, said the fuel supply situation delighted him, adding that many motorists were pleased to see the nation escape the annual ritual of product scarcity at the end of year.
This tenor is so wonderful. We are having it very good. Unlike last year, it was difficult here and there. But you can see Oga going here and there to check. If there is check and balances, honestly, there will be no problem. God bless you, sir. More grace to you, sir.
Mrs. Lamin Ahmed, another dealer with a major marketer, expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari and the NNPC for ensuring that the country did not have a repeat of last year's situation.
We are grateful, sir, for your efforts and for your constant support. We are grateful to the government and to our father and Mr. President for ensuring that this Christmas is spent in this beautiful manner.
Some marketers who spoke to Oil and Gas Forum gave kudos to the federal government and NNPC for ending the cycle of fuel shortage scenario during end-of-year festivities.
We've been having stable supply, nothing like scarcity. Our delivery, our dispensing is very, very okay, sir.
How much volume have you opened up with today?
As at this morning, I started with 102,700 liters of petrol.
And you expect more trucks? Or?
Yeah, I'm expecting. I spoke with my DS at Tesolo Yadepo. He promised me of 3 trucks.
Ma ba mu da wani problem daga nan har karshen shekarar nan, shekarar ma ya riga ya kare. Muna da man da zai isa kowa da kowa insha Allah. Ba mu da wani problem. In Allah da ko muna godiya da wannan abu da ya fara haka ba wani queue akan last year. The last year an sha wuya.
Addressing the press during the tour, Dr. Barrow explained the enormous challenge NNPC had to overcome to change the supply trajectory, saying much of the success could be attributed to the support NNPC received from President Muhammadu Buhari. Dr. Barrow disclosed that NNPC had 3 billion liters of premium motor spirit PMS, otherwise known as petrol, equivalent to 60 days sufficiency, adding that the stock would suffice through the election period, even if no fresh addition was made.
We built up stock, and in late January to early February, we are bringing in about double the daily requirements of the country. And we're able to build up stock. At the moment, we have 60 days supply in tank, about almost 3 billion liters of PMS that will last us, without bringing any extra drop of fuel, another 60 days. So we are seeing clear through the election period. We will have sufficient product.
The GMD thanked President Buhari for maintaining the existing pump price of 145 naira per litre, even when products were brought in that indicated under recovery of almost 80 naira per litre, while advising hoarders to turn a new leaf, saying that government would not tolerate sharp practices. He explained that the corporation had no control over under recovery as it was directly proportional to the prevailing crude oil price.
During the course of the year, we've had times when we brought in products that indicated a recovery of almost 80 naira a litre. And of course, at the peak, the under recovery from there also rises. Today, we're having much lower crude oil prices, and the under recovery had also gone down significantly to the region of 15 to 20 naira, 25 naira a litre, depending on what the price is. Because at $60, it was about 25 naira a litre.
A representative of the Abuja Zonal Director, Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR), Engineer Idris Zangi, assured of strict enforcement of compliance by all marketers, warning that the regulating authority would not condone any act of sharp practices.
Actually, as the GMD said, NNPC and the government have delivered well, and our job is to ensure that fuel is flowing in all the stations. The country's wait. We appeal to Nigerians to be calm and go to station and enjoy the united period.
Assistant Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Abdullahi Aminu, said Dr. Barrow's effort at galvanizing all stakeholders in tackling industry issues and his determination at revamping the nation's downstream infrastructure was responsible for tackling the supply hiccups of last year, stressing that this has restored normalcy to the system.
And I always appreciate the Group Managing Director for his efforts to bring down all these manners that have been happening in the country during this electricity period. Thank God very well. And Commander General directed all available resources from Lagos State, Ogun State, and Oyo State to deploy on the right of way from Akulaskop to Musimi to Ibadan to make sure no vandalism, no oil theft, no scooping from the right of way. And that's what brought about this effort.
The nation probably avoided another bout of scarcity of petroleum products with attendant hardship by compatriots this year end by a whisker. As days into the 12th month, Major Marketers Association of Nigeria (MOMAN) threatened to shut down operations over what it called unpaid subsidy claims. It took the intervention of many well-meaning Nigerians for the association to back down.
That DAPMA should give a chance to this peaceful accord and see whether the government will pay on Friday as they have promised. And I said, I also urge the government not to allow the promise to snap.
As this year runs to an end, many Nigerians experiencing an unprecedented ease with which they have access to petroleum products during the festive period observe that this is a time like no other, giving kudos to the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari and the management of the NNPC, led by Dr. Mekanti Barrow.
Hello, we're glad to have you join us on the feedback segment of the program. I am Julia Auta. After the ugly experience of last year, Nigerians nationwide are celebrating the festive season without the long queues at fuel stations and no panic buying. Today on this segment, we want to find out from Nigerians what it feels like celebrating the festive season without fuel queues.
The very best thing anybody could have experienced at this moment is having fuel and being able to be on the road at your convenience. It's wonderful, seriously.
The difference is quite clear because that was last year. The transport fare was higher than this year because there's no increment of fuel, even though they still increase their transport fare, but it's because of the high demand. But if it has as a result of fuel, nothing like that.
We go to virtually everywhere in the southeast. We are in Lagos, as in the southwest. We are in most places in south too. And we don't have any complaint of fuel scarcity anywhere.
Well, I just got here like 2 minutes and I didn't have to queue. So I drove in and I bought fuel. So I think this December has been different a little bit, in the sense that there is fuel, there is no scarcity, and we don't have queue anywhere here.
Well, for me, I feel very good because I have not noticed it, and I don't think I'm going to notice it going forward. Yes, and usually this type of thing, we don't like it. Anytime we are in a festive period like this,
we want things to be better than this. We even want a reduction in fuel prices.
This particular year, yes, everybody has been buying fuel from filling station. We don't have anything like black market. So this year is a better, it's okay, yes, I appreciate everything.
Well, it's quite wonderful because this is a departure from what used to happen in the past.
right? Right now, you just drive into any filling station and you get loaded. But in the previous years, like a period like this, you would have seen a lot of queues and all of that, and complicating travelers, problems. But it's fine now, very nice.
With McKenty coming on board, there is stability in the rate of fuel supply. That is a good plus. And two, drivers or motor owners can go into filling stations and buy fuel, get out of the filling station without hassles. Unlike when there were a lot of queues, and you will go there and sweat all around the day. You pay some kind of money before you could enter the filling stations and all the rest. No, we'll give him kudos. We've given him kudos.
From the responses, it goes to show that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) is meeting its primary responsibility of ensuring adequate, regular, efficient supply and distribution of petroleum products to all parts of the country. Please stay with us for the rest of the program continues.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has announced a trading surplus of 9.85 billion naira for the month of September 2018, a figure which is higher than the previous month's deficit of 3.90 billion naira. Details of the report, which is contained in the newly released September 2018 edition of the NNPC Monthly Financial and Operations Report, indicated that improved performance of 13.75 billion naira increase relative to that of August 2018 is attributable to higher revenue by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company (NPDC), the corporation's upstream subsidiary. NNPC Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Ndu Uhamadu, in a press release stated that NPDC's production has been on the rise as a result of success recorded in repairs of vandalized pipelines in the Niger Delta and the resumption of crude oil lifting activities at Focado's terminal. He said a total crude oil and gas export sale of $626.62 million was made in September 2018 under the NNPC's US dollar transactions, which is 33.32% higher than the previous month. It stated that crude oil export sales contributed $508.54 million, which is 81.16% of the dollar transactions, compared with $337.62 million contribution in the previous month. The report gave gas flare rate for the month at 8.60%, that is 684.69 million standard cubic feet per day, compared with the average gas flare rate of 10.17%, which is 800.59 million standard cubic feet per day for the period of September 2017 to September 2018. The September 2018 NNPC Financial and Operations Report is the 38th edition of the broadcast of the corporation's books aimed at enhancing probity and transparency of the corporation.
Hello, delighted you could join us once again on this segment. I am Faith Ayuba. Did you know that in line with the corporation's 12 business focus areas, BUFAs, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has embarked on fine-tuning strategies to enhance its position as a fully integrated national energy company? Did you know that the corporation's downstream company, NNPC Retail, currently holds about 14% market share of the nation's product distribution network? Did you also know that as part of these efforts, the corporation has charged its downstream petroleum sector to target 30% market share by 2020? Did you know that the target is to sustain efficient product distribution and price stability nationwide, and by extension to its neighboring West African sub-region? Now you know. Please don't go away.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices fell Friday after rebounding 8% in the previous session as worries over a glut in crude supply and concerns over a faltering global economy pressured prices even as stock market rally offered support. Brent crude oil dropped 1.67 a barrel or 3.1% to a low of $53.45, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude future slipped $1.30 to $44.92. Oil prices reached multi-year highs in early October but are now approaching their lowest levels for 18 months. Both crude oil benchmarks have lost more than a third of their value since the beginning of October and are heading for losses of more than 20% in 2018. 3 months ago, it looked as if the global oil market would be undersupplied through the Northern Hemisphere winter as U.S. sanctions removed large volumes of Iranian crude. But other oil exporters have more than compensated for any shortfall, filling global inventories and depressing prices. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, met earlier this month with other producers including Russia and agreed to reduce output by 1.2 million barrels per day, equivalent to more than 1% of global consumption. But the cuts won't take effect until next month, and oil production has been at or near record highs in the United States, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, with the U.S. pumping 11.6 million barrels per day of crude, more than both Saudi Arabia and Russia. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Solomon Yopave.
Better, very, very marvelous. This year, there's no scarcity any place where they go. I'm planning Imo State, Abia State, River State, Bayelsa, all over the eastern region, no scarcity of fuel.
That's been Oil and Gas Forum for this week, the last in 2018. Quite a long haul. We hope you've taken stocks and doing some reminiscing of sorts. On behalf of NNPC, Happy New Year 2019 Nigeria. May it be profitable. See you next year.